Welcome to Story Stream channel. Our story about the shepherd who understood the language of animals. In a small village surrounded by green mountains, there was a young shepherd named Edward. Edward had been tending sheep since childhood and loved animals more than anything else. However, he always wished he could understand what they were saying. He often wondered what his sheep thought when they ran away, or why dogs barked for no apparent reason. One night, as he sat by the fire in the mountains, he saw a star shining brightly in the sky before rapidly descending as if falling into the nearby forest. Driven by curiosity, he grabbed his staff and went to investigate. When he arrived, he found a strange stone, pulsating with a faint glow among the grass. As soon as he touched it, a tingling sensation spread through his head. And the world around him suddenly felt clearer and closer. He didn't yet realize what had happened, but he felt something different inside him. The next morning, as he returned to his flock, he heard an unusual voice.
Oh no, that foolish shepherd is back.
Edward looked around in astonishment but saw no one. Then he heard another voice.
Please don't take us to the muddy river today. Sophie is still cleaning her wool.
This time he realized the voice was coming from his sheep. His eyes widened in shock. Could it be that he now understood the language of animals? Edward started listening carefully to his sheep and discovered that they talked about things he had never imagined. One sheep believed he was the leader of the flock, even though he was always the last to arrive at the grazing fields. The goat often mocked the sheep because she didn't need to have her hair sheared like them. But the surprises didn't stop there. Edward also heard his loyal dog grumbling.
Oh, how I wish this shepherd would realize that I don't like eating dry bones every day. Is it too much to ask for some delicious meat?
Edward laughed heartily and said to him.
I'll bring you some meat tomorrow.
The dog froze in place before exclaiming in shock.
What? You understand me?
From that day on, Edward used his newfound ability wisely. He asked his sheep where they preferred to graze and avoided the muddy areas they disliked. When wolves attacked the flock at night, the dog warned him before any danger appeared. One day, while passing by a neighboring farm, Edward heard a cow groaning.
Oh dear, doesn't this farmer understand that I hate sitting next to that donkey? He never stops telling boring stories about his youth.
Edward chuckled and approached the cow, asking,
Tell me, what kind of stories does he tell?
The cow pursed her lips and whispered,
Oh, he talks about how he was the fastest donkey in a race, but I'm sure he was the only one in the race.
Edward couldn't stop laughing, but suddenly an idea came to his mind. What if he used this ability to his advantage? Edward started visiting the markets, giving advice to farmers based on what he heard from their animals. He told one farmer that his cow preferred fresh grass, and advised another that his chickens needed clean straw in their coop. His reputation spread quickly, and soon people from neighboring villages came to hear his extraordinary advice. But with fame came suspicion. Some farmers began to doubt him. How did he know all these things? Was he a sorcerer? As rumors spread, the village elder decided to put Edward to the test. He said,
If you truly understand the language of animals, we have a challenge for you. We have a horse that refuses to let anyone ride it. If you can tell us why, we will believe you.
Edward approached the horse and asked.
Why don't you let anyone ride you?
The horse replied angrily.
Because the saddle they put on me hurts. It's old and worn out, and it makes my back ache whenever someone tries to sit on me.
Edward relayed this information to the village elder, who immediately replaced the saddle. As soon as they did, the horse allowed people to ride him without resistance. The villagers were astonished and finally admitted that Edward had a special gift. As time passed, Edward realized that understanding the language of animals was not just a fun talent, it was a great responsibility. Not everyone accepted the idea that a human could communicate with other creatures. Some even feared he might be a sorcerer. So he decided to use his ability wisely and only share his secret with those he trusted. He never stopped helping his animals. He talked to them every day, listened to their problems, and made their lives better. His dog became happier, his sheep were more comfortable, and his farm flourished thanks to his unique ability. One clear night, as Edward sat by the campfire gazing at the stars, he smiled and said,
The world may never know my story, but I am living my happiest days. I may not be a wizard, but I am certainly the most understanding shepherd in the world.
The end. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.